Hi, my name is Arun Sardana. I am the founder of Karuna and the Karuna Happiness Foundation, and I'm also a senior partner with an investment consulting outfit called the SPG Fiduciary Partners of Raymond James. In the 25 years of working in finance, in providing investment consulting advice to select clients, and now in developing this startup uh, focused on mental health and empowering women, youth, and children, the work really, when you think about it, is only one, and that is to spread happiness, to make people feel secure and have a fair shot at whatever it is that they're doing. Whether it is working with a not-for-profit organization that is seeking guidance on how to invest their money or how to protect their money, or whether it is working with marginalized population of women, children, and youth who have suffered unspeakable abuse and horrors of trafficking, neglect, abandonment, the goal is the same: to give them the agency, the ownership of what they consider to be their happiness. That is what I feel most fulfilled in. That is what I feel I'm blessed with in this particular phase of my life. So, how do I overcome fear? You know, it's changed over the years. When I was a little young boy, my older siblings used to tease me about a ghost that lived in this big tree that was there behind our home in India. And when the power went out, as it did often, and it got real dark, they would dress up with white sheets as ghosts and spirits and try to scare me. So, darkness was my fear when I was a young boy growing up in India. And as I think about my years of adolescence and young adulthood in middle school and high school, my fear was potentially a very common one: not fitting in. I just didn't fit in. We came from a very, very humble family, and my father and my mom really believed that education was our future. So they sent us to private schools, which really were meant for the rich kids. And I really didn't feel that I had a place there. So, what saved me with that, from that fear, was the stage. Ironically, most people feel that the fear of public speaking is ahead of the fear of death. For me, public speaking and the stage was life. I was reborn every single time I stepped on the stage. A poem recitation, a debate, a declamation, an oration, a radio program, you name it, and I was in it. And it was the most energizing experience. So fear dissipated while I was on stage, but didn't go away. It was always present. And I had to work hard on figuring out what it is I had to do to fit in. And as I moved into adulthood and married life, that fear of not fitting in took a slightly different shape. And that fear was of failing those who depended on me: my children, my wife, my siblings, my mom who had cancer, my brother who had quadruple bypass surgery, my brother in law who had double organ transplant. You would think we were a walking disaster of physical disease. But I had an archetype of a caretaker. For better or for worse, that was me. And my fear was, I'm going to fail them. I will not be able to do this right by them. Fortunately, it didn't happen. I did my best and it all worked out. As far as the fear of financial independence and not having a safety net when you come to a different country as an immigrant, I was 23 when I first arrived in the US with really no financial assets or any other backing. And you have this fear of completely falling apart. I had seen that unravel with my father in India, and I was literally scared to death with that. So the silver lining of fear was what I experienced as I moved on. The way fear drove me and motivated me was like the highest octane gasoline in a V8 engine. You know, in investment consulting, we say there are only two fears: the fear of losing out that is, you're not going to get some opportunity that was in front of you, or the fear of losing money, that you will get into something and lose money. So both fears drive people's motivations to invest in the market. Well, life is no different. Yes, we call it ambition, but I think at the bottom of it, it's the fear of failure. And that's at least what was true for me. So what drives me today to continue my journey is precisely that I just don't want to fail. And here's where my fear took a slightly different turn in the last 5 or 6 years. The fear that I started to face now was the fear of my duality, the fear of being vulnerable, the fear of not finding my authenticity, who I was, who I am. And I would literally stand in front of the mirror. I remember these very, very clearly, these moments. And I would wash my face in the morning and I would look at myself and I would say, who are you? I used worse words than that, but that was the question. Who are you? And as I explored, that led me to the motivation of completely becoming vulnerable, because that was the only way out of that fear, to get to my real truth, to peel those layers of dirt of that onion that had kept whatever it was inside me really enclosed in a very suffocated space for so long. So as I think about fear itself, when I was in high school and in college, I used to turn everything into acronyms, and I still do that. So fear to me is an acronym. F stands for facing it. You know, the good news about facing fear is that we can dial it down or dial it up based on what we want. You don't have to face the fear completely. You can customize how much you want to face it. But face you must. That's the only way to go through fear. E is to express it. Expression also is very personal. You can write it down. You can sing it. You can write about it in a poem or a song. You can paint it. You can talk to a friend or a sibling about it. You can talk to God about it. You can talk to spirituality about it. You can talk to nature about it. Expressing the fear. Where is it coming from? Where are these seeds rising from? Why do I have it? What can I do about it? Are there other ways of looking at it? That's the expression that I give to the E. A is acceptance and adaptation. I know this fear is not going to go away. All I can do is adapt and start to shift my perspective about it. Adaptation and perspective, which is the R, which is reflection, are deeply connected. So how do I adapt to it? Well, I reflect on it. I reflect by either writing about it, and most often I have a conversation with my superpower. Someone up there, not a person, but some higher being that I speak to. And that's how I try and manage and minimize my fear. Now, that might be something woo-woo for some of you, and that's okay, because you will have your own method. There is no right answer and there is no wrong answer. So the only advice I will leave you with my own humility and experience, is try and get rid of your duality. Try and find your authenticity and find your acronym of fear. Define it yourself. I don't have any wisdom to tell you that this recipe will fix it or something else will fix it. You have the answer inside. Like Buddha said, you are your own light. The answer is with you. And that leads me to my definition of success. Success to me is being vulnerable and really finding your authenticity. In that authenticity, you will find that the answer to getting rid of fear lives. Courage lives there. Life lives there. Everything that you desire lives in your authenticity.